This is John and April's kitchen table back here on the patio one more time.
Yeah.
And coming back with a follow-up from last week. And our topic this week again is Will and Jada.
Yes.
And August. So subscribe.
Click that bell.
Let's go. So we watched as Jada brought herself to the red table today, and Will was there with her, which is very interesting.
I was very surprised.
I was surprised
to
too.
see that. I was.
And I was actually a little bit moved by their interaction.
Yeah.
And now that we got the story, it makes sense. First of all, let me say that I think it takes a lot of courage to not just let people think what they think after something like that happens. August comes out and says what he says, and then they came out and told their own story.
Right.
And I thought that was courageous of them to even do that, because it's really none of our business. But of course, you know, somebody put something out there, and they do have this platform where they're trying to help marriages and relationships and stuff like that. So clearly, they're using their platform to help people out. And I think what they talked about today may make other people feel more normal.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true. And I was actually shocked that it happened like 4 years ago.
Right. So basically what we found out was this is something that happened a long time ago. Apparently, Will and Jada, their relationship was kind of on the rocks, and they decided that they were actually going to be done with each other. They were separating.
For real. Like they thought it was over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will said he thought it was done. It was over. And during that time is when Jada got into this relationship with August.
And she said she was really trying to help him. He was broken.
He had health problems. Different things.
And she's like wanting to fix his life. That's a part of her issues, that she feels like if she helps others, she can help herself.
She said she thinks it's part of her codependency that in her own life she is drawn to people that are broken because she herself is broken, and she thinks by fixing them it will help to fix herself.
Right.
Yeah.
So they ended up having more of an intimate relationship.
Right.
And it's funny the words they used.
They used some words that made it sound like it wasn't a big deal, and then Will was sounding like
hold on,
it was a big deal.
What? Your encounter? What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, she admitted that they did have a deep relationship with each other, a real relationship.
Right.
And as they were together, she began to feel like she was getting fixed.
Right.
Like her, you know, the things that were going on in her life, she was starting to, she said it was a journey for her or whatever. And
she said she felt good for the first time in a long time.
Right.
She said she was broken and hadn't felt good, and she just wanted to feel good. And that's what sort of drew her to this new relationship.
We really don't know what was going on in Will and Jada's relationship to make her feel broken, make her feel like basically like she was not loved at the time or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So something obviously really deep happened.
Right. Clearly.
And it caused them to separate and make them feel like it was over.
Yeah.
But the question is, I'm just gonna pause in the middle of the story. The question is, you know, should you go and start another relationship while you're still married, even though you're separated?
I think the answer is no, and I think this is a cautionary tale as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
I think until it's actually over, you should still act like you're married.
Yeah, man.
And I think what ends up happening is people get hurt through the process. I mean, Will looked very hurt to me during the interview.
He did look hurt.
And he looked also like, you know, he made a couple jokes. I mean, he was like joking with the truth, where he said, "I'm gonna get you back."
Yeah. And she was like, you had already done that.
Right. And then she said, it's not about getting anybody back. And then he said, well, it kind of is for me. And then he laughed. But I think
he's broken. I think this brought back up the sadness and the hurt.
Because this happened 4 years ago, and they went through their situation. They're back now to where things are strong for them in their relationship. And it seems like he was reliving it all over again.
I mean, he looked like he'd been crying for a bit. I mean, his eyes were kind of, I don't know. I just felt like he looked like he was hurt.
Yeah.
And that he's hurting or was hurting or whatever. I mean, that's what I saw.
Me too.
Maybe not,
So
what I saw.
Here's the bottom line for me. If it was us and we went through this same thing, I know it would be very difficult for me, even if we move past it. If anything brought it back up,
right?
I think that'd be difficult. So that's why I'm saying, if we're going through problems and we're having issues, I think whatever we do to try to resolve those issues, to make ourselves feel better or whatever, I think there are certain boundaries we should never cross.
Yeah.
And one of those boundaries is we should never break the vow that we made to each other when we got married.
Right.
So, I mean,
it causes so much more extra
It does. It opens
like,
all kinds of wounds.
Like they were already separated and everything. And then that on top of that, it's like, you know, and I think what happens is, you know, like they ended up getting back together and working things out.
Right.
And she said August basically stopped contacting her and hadn't contacted her after that. Didn't contact her after that.
Once she and Will decided to reconcile and everything like that.
Or whatever, when she decided to go back, whatever it was.
Right.
But I feel like she did not know that she was going to do that. She didn't know that was going to happen. He didn't know that was going to happen. So it's kind of hard. It's like, are you sure you want to take that step to start another relationship and you're still in the middle of, you know, going through this trial in your own marriage? I mean, that's kind of hard.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like your vow should be sacred no matter what. And that no matter how you're feeling at the time, you should try to keep your vow of you being with that one person. I'm not going to be intimate with anybody but April until I die. Because even if I'm feeling a totally different way at one point, who knows what I'm going to feel like next week. It could be like we're back to normal, and now we are. And now here I have this other situation. I already started with somebody else.
So now you got to deal with that too. That's a lot of emotional stuff for yourself.
That's
too much.
That's why I'm saying
too much.
My personal feeling is that love, even though it is a feeling, love's got to be a decision. And you have to make a decision that you're going to love each other and that you're going to keep your vows to each other no matter how you're feeling. Because there are times when you're probably going to feel like this relationship isn't worth my love.
Yeah, because Will obviously decided to love Jada through that. And Jada too, according to their little, I mean, you're reading into, you know, we had to interpret what they were saying, but they kind of said Will's done this too. And so like she had to love him through that as well. And I get it. I think it's great that they've decided to forgive each other, love each other, whatever. But in the end, when he said, you know, bad marriage for life, I was just like, when they said that, I was just like, and he said that was terrible.
Ride together, die together, it said bad marriage for life. And you all know that's the line from Bad Boys.
From Bad Boys. I'm just like, oh man, that's really bad. Like,
but I will say this.
I get what he's saying though.
I will say this though. There was one thing I liked about what he said, and I thought that was good. And I love the fact that they have this in their relationship. Will said, he said, remember I told you, talking to Jada, remember I told you that I'd be able to love you through anything. And she said, yeah, when you said it, I didn't believe you. And then he said, well, how am I doing? And she said, pretty great. Well, so clearly,
she said pretty.
Yeah,
great.
Something great. But anyway, so the point is, clearly what they have decided to do is they're going to love each other through no matter what the situation is. And that's what I'm talking about. Love as a decision. But I wish that love was strong enough, and I want that love for me and you to be strong enough that it will cause me to always be faithful to you, even in times when we're not going through what we think. It's not the high time, it's a low time, but we're still going to be faithful to each other. You see what I'm saying?
I hope that they have found happiness. I hope that they will not have a bad marriage, that won't be their plight, you know, that they'll be able to have a good marriage. You can be happy.
I think so.
I mean, you don't have to say bad marriage for life. You don't have to.
And I think you can actually get past these kinds of things with enough healing. And you can get to a point where even though you had your mistakes in the past in your relationship, you can live past and live through that and actually have a happy marriage. So anyway, we hope that for you, that you will have a happy relationship.
We hope that for them too.
We hope that for them as well.
And for us, right, honey?
Exactly. We're not supposed to kiss on camera.
Well, we just did.
Anyway, see y'all next time.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye.